Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining. Bear with me while I have a very nasally and sick voice today. But luckily I am only here to MC and stop Donald from talking too much and also go over some questions if you guys have any. So the Q&A is on, so if you guys have any questions at any point in the meeting, feel free to let us know. If you guys don't know me, my name is Rita. I am the sales manager, marketing person here at Real IT Solutions. And Donald will introduce himself and we will kick it off.
Awesome. Thanks, Rita. So I'm Donald. I'm the service manager here at Real IT, and I am super excited today. I've been wanting to do an AI thing for a while, and we finally said we're going to do it. I love AI. I'm incredibly passionate about AI. It's probably the favorite technology I've ever worked with, and I'm going to try not to talk too much, and because we got a few slides, but I'm really interested in the demos. I'm going to try to make it where we're going to do some prompts that will work in ChatGPT, or we're going to talk about Claude, how that works, how Gemini works, and we're going to start this lunch and learn on how to prompting. We're going to talk a little bit about what tools the best to use, and then we're going to work through like the security of it. This is going to be the foundation, and then each month we're going to do some different things, and hopefully you're going to learn something. If you have any questions, feel free to let Rita know, and she can stop me and I can explain hopefully your question. If I don't know, then I'll come back to you and let you know at a later time after I research it, okay? So the question is, why are we here? This lunch and learn is strictly going to talk about how to master prompting, what you should be using, how you should prompt. We're going to talk about why it's important to use the right tools for the right questions. And then we're going to talk about how you can stay compliant for those of us that have compliance issues and what that means. Now, I sometimes I'll say, I'm going to give you the bacon without the sizzle today. This is kind of a fun thing, which kind of AI taught me. So what you're going to walk out with is you should have some infographics where you have a framework of prompting that's going to make AI about 10 times more powerful. You're going to find you should have another infographic which talks about LLM, and you're going to hear me use that acronym a lot. So what LLM stands for is a large language model. So this is the AI tools that have been trained on large data sets. This is your ChatGPT, this is Claude, this is Google's Gemini. There's a lot of LLMs out there. We're going to touch base on the big ones. And if you have questions about some of the smaller ones, I can talk about where you could use those. We might mention them a little bit. So if you have questions about, hey, I want to do this, which one works best, let us know.
And then finally, we'll take a quick second. I emailed everybody who has registered those 3 infographics that Donald is talking about. I'm also going to paste them to the chat for you guys if you did not get them. Otherwise, check your email. They're there as well. If anyone did not get one and they would like to receive those, just drop it in the chat and I'll make sure that those get to you directly.
Awesome. And then there's the infographic on the security and which one I recommend using and what one is the best, especially for compliance. Now I'm going to probably talk a little fast through the slides so that we have more time to do the demos, because there is a lot to go over. And I want to make sure that it's actually useful. So some of the stuff in the slides I'm going to probably talk fast on. So if you need to slow me down, just flag Rita. Now, most of the problem when it comes to prompting that a lot of people will say, I don't trust AI, I don't like AI, I don't want to use it. It's because people write a prompt that says, like they got write me a plan to increase my sales. There was a meme a while back that said, sir, this is a Wendy's. You have to make sure that when you're prompting, you're giving it specific things that you want. You're being specific in your question, because otherwise you're just going to sit there and type all day. AI should be saving you time. So make sure that you're prompting. We're going to talk about what to prompt and how to do that. And you don't have to memorize this right now. I'm going to break this down. So there's a lot of different prompt frameworks. I use one called Crafted, but the majority of them are the same. And really in Crafted, there's three important things that you really need to do in every single prompt. You need to have context, you need to have a deliverable, and you need to tell it how to format that. So context, you're saying that what is this for? Who's it for? What are the limits? And a deliverable is the exact task that you want done. You're thinking, this is what I need, this is what I want. And then the format is how should it look? How long? Is it a bullet point? Is it a list? Is it a table? Is it a paragraph? What do you want it to do? And how do you want it to look, basically?
I always try to default to giving the AI more information than less, so that they have it, and even if they don't need it, then they can. When you're prompting, I always find that it's best to have more information involved to get that specific result you want. Otherwise, it's just going to end up taking longer.
Yep, absolutely. Because you can really get down a rabbit hole when it comes to prompting, and AI is there to save you time, or at least help you with efficiency, I should say. So the more efficient your prompt is, the less time you're going to use on it, and it's going to really, if you have the right prompt, it's going to blow your mind. Now, the other four, which is really great to have because you're narrowing down what you want, and that is a role. So what should AI do? What shouldn't it do? You're going to have an audience. Who is reading this? What's their expertise level? In a lot of my prompts, if I'm talking with someone, I've looked at, what is the audience reading level and what's the best guide? The majority of the time that I've read, they've said, and I've read lots of articles on it, they said, make it an 8th grade reading level, unless it's a super technical audience. And then you can say, okay, this is a technical audience, and you tell them why. Finally, tone. Are you professional? Are you friendly? What kind of, do you want to use plain language? Is it a confident technical language? Is it easygoing? And finally, you're going to explain what topics must be covered and what examples help. I find that the majority of the time, I don't always use these. Where I've used these the most, and we'll do this in another lunch and learn, I've created an agent. I call it Robot Donald, and it talks like me. I've got my favorite Texas sayings in it. I've got pop culture, so it references Tombstone. It references, you know, Remember the Titans, Star Trek, Star Wars. So it just randomly throws things in that I'm like, oh, that's neat. That does sound like me. And I've refined that over basically 2 years. Basically, if you've ever received an email from me in the last 6 months, it's probably been AI because it really corrects my grammar because that's my weakness. AI has been an amazing assistant for overcoming my poor grammar and communication skills, and it's really become a strength. And that's one of the reasons why I'm almost an AI evangelist when it comes to that, because it's really helped me frame my thoughts, make them linear. And like I said, we'll probably talk about that at another lunch and learn. But when it comes to this and adding in these extra things, that's when you really start refining the prompt and you're really looking at, okay, somebody else is going to see this. This isn't just giving me ideas. This is me sharing my ideas with the world. And now we get to do a demo, and we're going to go over, I'm going to basically write this prompt. The bad prompt is, and I'm doing it for me. So you can take this as what you would do. But I think this is a good example. Like the bad prompt is write me something about our new data backup service. And for this specific one, I'm going to use Copilot. I'm going to I'm going to use the tools that just so you know, I'm going to use the tools that I have to share with you. It doesn't mean that this is the best tool for you, but I just want to use the tools that I have because basically that's what I have to do, right? Luckily, all I got to do is copy and paste instead of type all this out. So if we go to Copilot here and we say, write me something about our new backup service. This is what we're going to get. You'll see that Copilot can now do voice as well. And you can see I forgot that I got my agent in here. So it's not going to be as good. So let's actually go over to Hatz real quick. That'll be you'll have a better idea of what that looks like without my fun agent on it. So you see, already it's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I can't help. That's not very helpful, right? So we're going to add this in. And that gives the whole thing, like what it's for, what I'm asking it to do. So now you get some actual real feedback. See how much better that is? The first one is like, I don't have anything for you. Now it's like, oh, okay, here's what I can do. So that just shows you a little bit about what having a good prompt will do and how it changes that. And we're going to use this same thing a little bit later on in the next demo. But I want to say, Rita, is there any questions on why on the crafted style?
Nope, no questions in the chat yet, but if you guys have any, go ahead and drop those in. And then this is one of the infographics that was sent to you guys. It's the crafted one. So you can save that, you can print that off and have it on your desk. But we're going to go through each of these letters all together, but this is what you guys can save and use when you guys are prompting to get those better results.
Exactly. So let's keep going. And I want to talk a little bit about the LLMs. Let's talk about large language model. So I get this question a lot, and I see it a lot. So which AI is the best? It's not about which one is the best. It's about which one is which one's the best for what I'm trying to do. What am I trying to create, and which tool should I use? It's about bringing together the different LLMs to form, a team. That's why I got Nick Fury on here. You're creating your assistants as Avengers, which I think is kind of a cool thing. So when you're talking about the most popular one that probably everybody has used and everybody knows, it's the one that started it all, started the revolution, and that's ChatGPT. ChatGPT is best as a creator. It is when you don't really know what you're wanting and you're starting to brainstorm. It's pretty good at images. It's good at being very quick, and it gives you fast responses because sometimes it doesn't think. It just spews what it knows. It's really best if you're trying to be creative. You're marketing, you're handling your social media account, things like that. Anything that you're really thinking, I need an idea, ChatGPT is the best LLM for that. And next is Claude, and Claude is my personal favorite LLM. It's called like the architect. It's best for coding. It's best for writing. And I don't mean that some people have argued about the writing in the past. Claude has always been the best at sounding like a human. When you're doing your emails, you can tell the difference between a ChatGPT email and a Claude email very quickly, especially if you're used to using them. It's good for technical depth. It's good for legal analysis, researching, documentation, email. Claude, how I remember is Claude, if you want to sound like an actual human, use Claude. And finally, Gemini. And Gemini has really come on in the last, 4 or 5 months. It's gotten a lot better. It is really, really exceptional at reading and analyzing large data. So if you've got a giant white paper that is 30 pages long, 100 pages long, or if you've got big Excel spreadsheets or complex formulas, things like that, Gemini is able to read that, it's analyzes it, analyzes it, and it's so far superior to ChatGPT and Claude that it's just actually really amazing. So I don't know if anybody else gets those long documents and you're like, all right, there's an hour worth of reading. Gemini really cuts that down. And what's great on it is it doesn't just explain it, doesn't just summarize it for you, is you can actually ask it questions. So if you're not sure of certain topics, you can go through them. I mean, you can say, I don't understand this, explain it to me.
Pause real quick, Donald. Troy has a question. What do you mean by the gap in your infographic about these three LLMs?
All right. Look, I've got a different slide here that we'll explain that further. So let's just go on and that'll talk about it.
There's also a question regarding Copilot. I don't know if you want me to save it.
Oh, go ahead and ask. You can go ahead and ask the Copilot because I'm going to discuss that gap here in just a second. Go ahead.
Yeah. So in Copilot, do you put your personalization in the customs instruction section?
That's right. Exactly. There's a couple of there's a customs and there is a preferences. So I've put that in there, 100%. Absolutely. And I actually have a guide on that. So if you would like, and I was thinking that this will probably be next month's Lunch and Learn, but if you are already using Copilot and you would like my voice guide, if you will comment and we have your email, I'll get you that guide so that it has the pop culture references because the guide is going to be different from GPT versus Copilot because where you put those is in different places. Oh, that's a great question.
Amber would just like to comment, ChatGPT she finds best for complex proposal writing. It's good with detail and she likes the way that she's trained it.
There's something to say about if you've been using it a long time to continue using it. I would say on your proposal writing, I'm going to get to something a little bit in the next demo that's going to amaze you. And it's going to really help with that specific thing. I know exactly what you mean. The hard thing with ChatGPT is if you've been using it for 6 months, it knows you. So you're like, I don't want to train this again. I always say use the tool that you know, but I'm going to show you some tricks that maybe you might be interested in. All right, so I'm pretty excited about because I use this on a daily basis and not a lot of people are using it. So we talked about a little bit of gap. So one of the things with ChatGPT, it doesn't really do deep research well. Claude doesn't have like really native search. It's trained on data from like 6 months ago. So it doesn't really have the newest knowledge on it. And Gemini is so locked into Google that sometimes you have to be careful. Those are sort of the big gaps and the big issues with it. And I would say none of these tools give you like deep research with citations. It doesn't give you real-time news. Most of them don't give you web page scraping. And now this is something in the next demo that I'm super excited to show everybody about because I don't think a lot of people know you can do this. It doesn't give you the option to switch between the different LLMs in one place. Now there's a tool that I like to use called Hatz. And Hatz allows me to use just about every LLM out there in one place. It allows me to use the power of GPT, Claude, Gemini in one interface, not in just one interface. In the last 6 months, I think it was six to 4 months ago, they made it where I can do it within the same prompt and within the same memory. So it's able to read what it's analyzed, what I've asked it, and what I've trained it to do all in one place. And we're going to talk about the tools that Hatz can do, like Perplexity for search. I don't know how many of you have heard of Perplexity. Perplexity is basically Google for AI, right? It's able to search live data right now, but it's not necessarily an LLM. It's specifically for search. I can do that in Hatz. There's going to be some tools. I can add web scraping using a tool, AI tool called Firecrawl. I can add uh, Tavily for news monitoring. If you're wanting to do market trends, like I've got an agent. Yes, Perplexity, Troy, 100%. Perplexity is amazing, exciting. 100. That's what I loved it for. I was using Perplexity as one of my main tools for a long time until I got Hatz. Um, but Tavily can do news monitoring. I've created an agent called Market Research that uses Tavily to let me know all the trends by searching not just news. I even have it searching a Reddit tool that looks for in Reddit and all kinds of stuff. So I've created agents, which will be another lunch and learn, but that's coming as well. And the coolest thing, like I said, was we can switch between them in a task, and I'm going to go over that right now, and I'm pretty excited about it to show y'all what this looks like. This is something I do multiple times a day that people are like, wow, how do you know this? My AI knows it. So we already did one tool here. And then we use Claude for this. So we've already done what Claude looks like. It makes a better human voice. So what I want to do now is I'm going to switch already in here. I can switch to ChatGPT. And it's as simple as changing it down here in this LLM box here. And I'm going to give it another, just a simple prompt. It already has it in the memory. So sorry, I got to change this prompt just a bit. All right. So now say, now give me ideas that's more urgency focused. So it's going to start using ChatGPT and what it's good for. Now, one of the things I want to look at now and I want to add is we're going to add in Gemini, and I'm going to give it a document that is like 30 pages long. Just about a backup service, right? Because that was our first thing, is tell me about a backup. We're going to save that. And now I'm going to give it a prompt, and I've switched it to Gemini. Now I'm going to tell it to analyze that paper. So I'm saying, okay, I want you to analyze this SaaS white paper. And I'm going to have you create a version that emphasizes security concerns. And it takes a little bit longer to analyze that because, like I said, I think that's between 30 and 40 pages long. But I wanted to give it something that you'll actually see. Like you say, oh yeah, look, it's doing it. And you'll see these characters up here. Those are called tokens. Hatch basically charges you by the tokens. You got a certain set of tokens that you have to use or that you have available for you per month. So now it sort of looks through that and gives me, okay, well, here's this, well, this white paper, here's what it has. Now, what's cool here is I want to start adding some of the tools. Now, Hatz has something called auto tool, but I don't want to get, that means it'll pick from the tools that it has, but I want to show you the tools that it has. So right now, if I wanted to crawl, say I wanted to crawl a competitor's site to see what they're doing and what they're missing, I could do that. You know, I just would say fire crawl, and then I would put the address of the competitor. Now, obviously, that would be incredibly rude to do during a lunch and learn, but just to show you that's available. That's something you can do. Tavily, you know, it says web search and content retrieval. We're going to do that. That's for news, right? We can add perplexity. That's for, I'll tell you what, let's do this a separate time. Let's do perplexity first. We'll do the tools at a separate time so that you can see. Perplexity. Again, all I'm having to do is select the tool that I want to use. And you see it, look, there goes Perplexity asked. So it's shooting that over to Perplexity to ask the question. Tells you if it's success. I'm not, occasionally, if you're trying to create a document, sometimes that fails, but most of the time it's successful. So here, now you see that it's once again, it went out, it did some actual real search using Perplexity on it. Now I'm going to change another tool, and I could you saw where you can you can have multiple tools at the same time, but I'd like to show you individually what that is. I'm going to add a little statement. So maybe you want it in the last year, maybe you want it in the last 7 days. You're going to ask that.
Donald, while we wait for this to load out for a second, do you mind explaining like what Hatz is, and just kind of, you guys might have noticed when you go to like Perplexity specifically, it looks different than what you're looking at here because it's in a different interface. So
Right. So what Hatz is basically, I would almost call it an AI integrator. It keeps your data. What's cool about this is it keeps your data separate from the AI tools. So it's only asking these LLMs specific questions pertaining to what you're wanting. So this is all kind of done through APIs and through calls, but for the most part, Hatz is its own integration. So it does have its own UI. Like you'll see, there's a home, there's a chat. I've got a workshop there where I can build applications, I can build agents, I can build workflows. Those are really interesting stuff, but they're also more complicated to really get into. But for the most part, know that Hatz is an integrator that works with all of these LLMs and securely with your data, which we'll talk a little bit about the security stuff later. But know that it's basically it's just an integrator, and it integrates all of these AI tools in one place for you to use. Does that
thank
answer
you.
the question?
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure everybody is on the same page. And then also we are around, we have 15 minutes left. So if anybody
Okay.
has any questions, feel free to begin dropping those in, and we can go over those.
Awesome, because I'm at the last demo on this, and then the rest I think is pretty much talking, which I can get through fairly quickly. But you can see I got some fairly recent news here. And finally, I've created my you heard me talk about Donald's voice agent. I have Donald's voice assistant, and we'll see finally. And I wanted to write an email. Sometimes I might say, I might say go heavy texting or lean in sometimes. Sometimes I don't want it. We'll say for fun we want to do it. I just find it hilarious for the most part. You'll say like, I reckon the news last. Reckon y'all saw the news. That's just funny to me. And like I said, it has my sayings ran in here, like that dog won't hunt. So you can see where we've come, what we've done. If I wanted to add specific citations within my email, I can. My email and my voice is pretty conversational. So that is the demo of how I use all of those tools to create something engaging, real, and basically that truthful as well. Because I've got sites from, I've got my citations, I've got my analysis of white papers. It's not just AI hallucinating and giving some data that's not true. All right, and let's go on. Hopefully, I found that you found that useful. That was my favorite thing that I wanted to look at. So another really important part, and something I don't want to miss out on, is security, because it is, this is security, is can I put client data in this AI tool? Well, the thing is, your staff's already using AI. The question isn't whether to use AI at this point. The question is which tool is going to keep you compliant for your regulations that you have to handle. Okay, and I want to go over a little bit about what those are. And there's two tools right now that meet the majority, if not all, compliance. One of them is Copilot, and that's because Copilot is purely within your 365. It doesn't leave. It's built specifically for compliance. So it's HIPAA SOC 2, it's GDPR out of the box. And a lot of that is because it has admin control. You decide who uses it, what your permissions are, what data you want it to touch, what data you don't want it to touch. It's specifically made for the enterprise. In fact, they last week released a whole new security monitoring within the admin tenant of 365 with reporting. You can see who's using who's using AI, how often they use it, what agents they're using, what they're getting into. So if you ever were to be asked by some sort of compliance officer on that, you can get those reports to them. Same thing now with Hatz. This has made tremendous gains yesterday. I actually learned a whole bunch of news that came out with Hatz. They finally got their reporting done. This is what they were waiting on to get SOC 2 compliant. Now that they are, so you can request those reports now for your SOC compliance. It isolates your tenant. It gives you audit trails. This is the big thing that Claude, GPT, some of the other tools do. They have part of the security, but they don't have the audit trails. That is where compliance matters. You got to be able to prove it and show it. And I think I have is that the best? Yeah, so I got in the infographic, we talk about each one, which one meets those specific requirements, and like you can see, some of these it's good, but the auditing isn't always the best. That is the biggest thing with GPT and Claude, is the auditing is it's either non-existent or very hard to get to. So when we talk about that doesn't mean you don't have to you got to stop using ChatGPT. ChatGPT is really, it's fine for marketing, blog posts, research. You just don't want to use tax returns or anything with PII or customer information. And with Gemini, Google is very, very loose with their data. So I like to say use Gemini for personal use and learning. That's where it's really great. But I would never use customer data in Gemini, at least not right now. I'm sure they're going to get better. All of them are going to get better. But as of now, that is the consensus in the security world, or the cybersecurity world. Now, I talked a lot about Hatz, so those that are interested in it, this is what that looks like, and what that cost is, what the onboarding fee is. And I think that this is sort of the sales saying on it, but hopefully it's more learning. But if you are interested in Hatz and how to do it, I can do a full-on demo for you, specific on Hatz or specific on Copilot. And I want to say that Rita wasn't like the first 3 people who want to actually sign up with Hatz. We were going to waive the onboarding fee.
Yep, absolutely.
But that's what Hatz looks like. I use Hatz primarily. I love the one thing where I would say where Copilot exceeds Hatz is if you do a lot of Teams meetings, having Copilot record your meeting, transcribe your meeting, ask it questions during the meeting is pretty amazing. Now, I saw a lot of you have your own AI tools and to do that. Copilot natively does that within Teams, and since I'm using Teams, it's one less AI tool I've got to pay for or use. And I know that my my meetings are going to be safe if I do talk about any sort of customer data or anything like that. Okay, finally, questions.
Now is the time. Also, if you guys want to drop in the chat anything you'd want us to go over next time, we definitely want this to be, collaborative. We want to go over things that you want to see or know about. This is just our first one, first of many, and we want to improve. So any feedback, any questions, anything that you want to cover for next time, let us know and we can definitely go over that. If anybody wants a one-on-one demo to go over things, we can do that as well.
Absolutely. The only idea right now that I have locked down is as I do want to go over the voice settings because it makes such a tremendous difference. I don't know how many responses, like good survey responses or feedback I've got once I made my AI Donald robot. Um, People really are like, oh, this is really good. Or I'll send meeting notes and I'll run it through my Donald voice, and they're like, wow, this is a really good. How did you do this? I know you and I know your spelling. Um, when
Yeah.
I, it's just terrible. It's an inside joke here at the office. In fact, I gave this my voice guide to somebody here in the office, and I thought they had an interesting. They tweaked it a little bit, so they misspell one common word in the email. So they're like, oh, it's not AI because he misspelled the word. AI never misspells anything. So I was like, oh, that's nice trickery right there.
I think it'd be cool too for one of our sessions to go over like creating your own agent. So along with the voice thing. So our owner, a lot of you guys know him, Matt Kale, he created his own virtual assistant of himself, and his name is Matt GPT. And Matt GPT, he, soundboards ideas off of. He creates emails with him. So super helpful. And saves him a lot of time on just little small tasks that he doesn't have to think about anymore, and it's in his own persona per se. Shannon, I got you. I got you noted there for that you want the guide as well.
Uh, if you'd like that voice guide, if you could let me know which LLM you'd like it for, that would be great because each one's a little different. So I want to make sure that I send you the right ones.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna run a poll real quick just to get an idea of which tools you guys currently use or your
Copilot.
favorites. So let me
Oh
go
yeah,
ahead and do that.
absolutely. That's a good idea.
So we'll just add this in real quick. We got Chat GPT, Copilot.
Okay, can do that, Josh.
Just submitted the poll, so if you guys could answer that so we can get an idea of, what everyone's using. Then we can kind of tailor these sessions to that as well. And if you choose other, please drop it in the chat as well. I got you, Dave, for the Copilot and GPT voice guide. Zox. Nice. Got you, Danielle. Daniel, sorry. Oh my goodness.
And since a lot of people are interested in the voice guides, they just so you know, they're pretty long. specifically the GPT and like my Hats one, just because you're able to have it longer. So like I really love giving mine pop culture references. You know, like I even put my personality tests in it. Like, you know, you're introvert or, you know, that type of stuff. So it's pretty comprehensive. Doesn't mean you have to use all of it, but it's a good start, especially because you really start to build a little bit. The more info you get, the closer it gets to how you talk, which it's all about saving time and efficiency, and it makes life fun. That's all I have, Rita, if nobody has any questions.
Yeah, if nobody has any questions, yeah, we can log off. But if you guys do after this meeting, let us know. We are happy to answer. You can email me directly or Donald. Um, and we look forward to having more of these, and any feedback after this, we're happy to hear as well. Thanks, everybody. I'm going to end the event. Again, email me if you need anything. Bye.